Hello there. So I'm excited to share a little bit more about how the circle room even came about and just kind of allow myself to explain the vision that I have a little bit more. This place actually evolved, kind of came to when a girlfriend of mine and I we're headed back from a retreat with our church, and you're poured into all weekend, and then you have to go back to life. You have to kind of jump back in and be the mom and the wife, and sometimes everything that you learn just goes by the wayside, and that refreshed feeling, that presence of God in your life over those few days or whatever, kind of starts to, fade away. Those things that you wanted to set your mind on, and those things that you wanted to really focus and do better on, kind of like dissipate. The feeling of peace and is kind of just goes away. And so we started looking for a place to have this like retreat in our community, because when we go off to those retreats, it's nice because you drive a couple hours to get away, and it's beautiful, and it's usually on a campsite somewhere, and it's amazing. But we were looking for a place where we could just pop in on a Tuesday afternoon and just kind of have time to just be still. And my vision has always been a place to go seek, soak, and then soar. So that's always been my three little terms that I like to call them. But, we're going there to just seek some peace and some quiet, and then soak in all that the world and God has for us, refresh, and then soar. Whether it's our day-to-day tasks or dreams that we have, or goals that we want to obtain, we can come there, regroup, refresh, renew, and then soar. So this was many years ago. So this was almost 10 years ago, because it was 7 years ago, because it was before my son was diagnosed. 8, 9, maybe 6 years ago. It was before he was diagnosed on the autism spectrum. So it took, kind of my brain kind of stepped away from that for a while. But I'm sure it was in the back of my head always. I just knew that I couldn't focus my time on that at the time. So then fast forward to where I am right now, and where I have been over the last few years, and being a mom with a child with special needs and other kids in my family. I have 3 other kiddos and a husband. It has taken me to where I really have a heart for still women having time away, but where it's somewhere easily accessible. And that it doesn't have to be a weekend. It can be a couple hours. It could be an entire day if they can pull that off. But it is a place to just go retreat, and you could meet a friend there. But for me right now, with my journey with my son, and for me, I get time away. He is super happy. He's adjusts really well with other people. He has older siblings that he can stay with. So I do get time away. But this mission and this ministry of mine is for those who really can't. And so it started with a desire to just have a place for women to go. And then it kind of evolved because, as you know, with children with, or maybe you don't know, children with special needs have a hard time fitting into typical situations. And so church has always been a struggle for us. And when we moved to Colorado, which was just about 8 months ago, we found a church that had a buddy system, and I thought, awesome, we can all go to church together, and Mitchell will have this buddy. And Mitchell would be fine with a buddy. He would really do fine. He doesn't want to go to church because it's like school to him. He has to be held back. He has to act a certain way, which is great. But so going through this journey with this church with the buddy system, and I love that they have it, and it's fabulous for a lot of families. But it has taken us on a journey to realize that there's about 80% of special needs families that do not go to church because they are not accommodated. There's a lot of reasons. A lot of moms, if they're like me, I can't, my son, his hair is, we call it crazy hair. He leans it up against his bed, and so it just gets really crazy here at the top, almost like a little gnat right at right at the scalp. And he doesn't like his haircut. He's having a hard time with hygiene. And through this journey, I've talked to a girl who is an adult person with autism, and she said it's like scraping sandpaper on his teeth. And so eventually he'll figure out that he has to do this for the health of his teeth. But right now, me saying that to him means nothing. So each day, each month, each week, we learn more and more about why they act the way they do and why things are hard for them. And the most important thing for me is to have my son be a happy child. He is growing and learning typical things and at a non-typical pace, but he is learning and growing, and he's happy. And that is really all I care about. So this circle room would also be an opportunity for families with special needs to be able to come to a church service, and they would actually be able to partake in the music, because I watched these kids on the spectrum be pulled away from wanting to go and talk on the microphone. Or Mitchell loves the drums, and he has spoke in the microphone while our pastor in Minnesota was actually preaching, and it was even on Mother's Day or Easter. I can't remember which one. And at the time he was nonverbal. So he got up there and he was speaking. It was like he was speaking in tongue, but he didn't even have a vocabulary back then. So it was interesting, but my passion is to let these children be the band. I want it to be all about them, because their talents and their gifts come out in different ways. I've seen a lot of kids on the spectrum who can sing like crazy, or their talents are somewhere else, and a lot of it is in art and music. And so I want a place to where they are welcome to go up on stage. We'll try to keep them to where it's more of a learning experience to how to talk into the microphone, how to sing into the microphone, and how to do the drums. But then there are some parents that will want them to remain, structured. Come in, sit down, listen. There will be a place for parents to be able to take their kids into a sensory room. So if they're sensitive to music, lights, and all that noise, and they need kind of something just to do, there'll be a sensory room for those kids so they can go in there and have some peace. And that will be available to moms, even if moms just need a break. That room would be available for their kids. There will be what I call as a soaking room. It'll be a nice, relaxing environment with lots of devotional books, Bibles, and things like that. So they could have some serious quiet time to just process their thoughts, because sometimes as moms, we just want to process our thoughts. So it would be a place, the environment would be friendly to where you can come in, grab a cup of coffee or a tea, and sit down with a girlfriend. You can bring a whole Bible study to come and study. once a week. We would love to have speakers and events for parents with children with special needs, marriages for people with special needs, teens with siblings with special needs. So it is going to be a lot more than just kind of what it sounds like when I write about it. Gosh, what else is it going to be? I've thought a lot about having a space for after school kids that they could come and maybe get help with their homework, or they can come play basketball with my son and his friends, or whatever it may be. Or maybe it's an after school program 1 day a week to where mom kind of gets her time, It could be a lot of things. So the environment is very inviting. And then the one main thing that the circle room comes from this journey that my husband and I have been on that got us out to Colorado. And that is circling our prayers. We read a lot of Mark Batterson books, and we had been circling our prayers and been on that journey to get us here to Colorado. And I want to make that a huge part of the circle room. So we will be offering up the opportunity for you to share what you're struggling with today, whether it's really small or super large. And we want to be intentional about praying over those things. The other thing is the way I want moms to feel. Some moms might want to just come in and be left alone and sneak off into a corner and be by herself. I had to do that at the library the other day. I just needed some time. I wanted to write, and I just went to the library. So this will be a little bit of a different setting, even though the libraries are looking great these days. But and then there will be those times where we're just gonna really pay attention to moms and really spoil them a little bit and make them feel really good and really important. So yes, I just wanted to kind of get on and explain all the details of what this involves. We'll start looking, the nonprofits should be all coming together really soon within the next couple weeks, but looking for ways to raise some money. So just recently I've contacted our local community here, and we look forward to doing like a 5K run, walk, and we're going to start having some jewelry that we can sell and actually gift to people who are part of the circle room. So it's a lot of fun stuff kind of in the making. So if you or anyone you know has something that you think that the ministry could really benefit from, I would really appreciate a message or a call. And right now we're just praying for the building. Like, God knows exactly what I want it to look like. And I've actually walked into a facility that was very similar. So I have a feel of it to just locally here, about a half an hour away from here. So we're just praying on the building right now, and then ways to fund it. So thank you for listening, and thank you for joining us. If you feel like it, please share our mission with others, and we look forward to jumping in and getting this started. So have a great day.